Here's to the ladies. Here's to the ladies. Here's to the ladies who brunch.
It's good to see us, isn't it?
Let us be glad.
And we're back. And
And we're so back, dude.
we are so back in the way that we have multiple moving elements to this production. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Hi, guys.
Hi, so there's video.
Hi. Are you choking?
You know, there's all those times we would say podcast or a visual element, and that has not changed. But
They're not a
that
visual.
they're not a visual element, that they're an auditory experience.
Yes.
But that has changed in the way that we now have
Visual
video aspects to our production.
So if you'll notice above us are some of our favorite iconic divas. I don't know if this part will be edited. If you're watching a clip of this on our Goes to It Instagram, TikTok, you'll see some of our favorite divas are hanging above our heads watching our every move. We love them and they're with us today.
And with that, we need to say one important thing, that the Diva Hall of Fame is closed.
Yes. Guys, lock it up.
Lock it up.
The Diva Hall of Fame is closed. The only I actually think we should we didn't even discuss this. The Diva Hall of Fame is closed in perpetuity, but I do think we need to induct 2 final divas and basically just hop right in. I know you're probably like, where have you been? Where the fuck have you guys been? We've been wanting content. We are thirsty for content. We'll tell you.
Well, there's a lot that's been happening.
There's a lot that's been happening.
As you may have known, our country had an election. And also, Sammy was in Arendelle.
And when our country was in an election and Jake was working for Kamala HQ,
I was deployed to Delaware.
And I was so sad when I was like, I'm coming back to New York. Jake was like, well, I'm in Delaware.
Honey.
So the Ladies Who Brunch took a hiatus, but we're back and better than ever. But I think you guys don't want to hear about that. You want to? Why are you fucking here?
Why are you here?
You want to hear about Wicked?
We saw Wicked last evening.
Early screening.
And this goes into, I'm guessing, the 2 people you want to induct to the Diva Hall of Fame, who are probably also going to be inducted into the Academy. And when I say the Academy, I mean with Oscars in their petite hands.
Yeah. And they have the petitest hands of all time.
They do have the petitest hands with long nails.
Oh my God. Also, like, the gag is, okay, what you guys don't know is that we had, probably the last episode we had intended to drop pre-hiatus was the Super Bowl, the full-on hour breakdown that was mostly Jake listening to me break down beat for beat the Wicked trailer.
The Wicked trailer, yes.
And then it just became like moot because
that episode's on our Patreon behind the fire paywall.
But at this point, we've seen the full film in 3D.
3D.
Let's just say what were we saying?
Should we do one word to describe our experience?
I can't use one word.
Can we try? I'm gonna say.
Okay, I can
just
use
to
one
start,
word.
and
Sure.
then we'll dive in.
Sure.
What's your word?
Validating.
Oh, so you went real.
Yeah.
I was gonna say my word was, legendary.
That's a great one.
I think it's going to go down in infamy.
Can I tell you why I chose the word validating?
Why?
Because, and watch me get emotional. I'm gonna get emotional on this pod many a time, but especially talking about Wicked.
I know. I
think it's something that obviously means so much to us. It means so much to so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's meant so much to so many people for our entire life. And it's so validating that other people thought that it was cool enough to spend millions of dollars and make it as good as they did.
Right.
Like it just validates everything that I saw in it as a kid. Do you know in Hacks there's that like speech that the gay guy gives at the bar when he's like, don't you realize like we as the gay community like saw her first, like we were like we
oh
you
yes
know, like, kind of that vibe to it where I was like,
Deborah.
oh my God, yes. Also Hack season 3 we haven't discussed at all. Oh my God, stay on track. But the gag is I just felt so seen, honestly, from like
I felt seen too.
Like obviously from the story I felt seen, but also just from a love of this IP.
And there are many times when I was emotional because of the text or like
Right.
the lyrics or the songs. But there were multiple times when I was just like, oh, like just hearing this song, it like takes me back to like the first ever. I mean, for me, this was like probably the first musical that I like learned off book, honey, top to finish, read it down, knew it, sang it in the car. It was a family experience with like multiple members of your family. It became like an iconic piece of monoculture. Yes. And so seeing that, and it's been a long time coming. I mean, they've been saying they were going to do this movie since I was like
I
13
think
years old.
I was gonna say, and we were talking about this before we went into the movie because we were like, it felt like we could have gotten this movie many times around. There were many announcements, there were many teasers, it was in the
Right.
works many times with many people attached to the projects. And thank God we waited 20 years for this version because it could have ended up being like a Greatest Showman situation. It could have ended up being
We were
like-
talking about that.
and instead we're getting what could very well be the front runner for Best Picture. I haven't seen a lot of
Yeah.
other movies. I don't know what the hype is, and I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't win because it, they wanted to go with something a little
Right.
bit more
Drama.
that wouldn't surprise me. I would be surprised if it wasn't nominated because it's a feat. It's a fucking feat, and it's triumphant.
Yeah.
Let's get into the nitty gritty. We, say it with me, took off. What were we saying yesterday? So Jake, famously yesterday was Jake's birthday. Everyone on 3. Happy birthday to you. I can't hear you, bitches. Louder. Literally whatever you're doing right now, you better be singing happy birthday to Jake and then sing happy birthday to me because mine's in a week.
Yeah. In
so
5 days.
It's Jake's birthday. Jake is like, I'm going to La Pecora Bianca with Eli. And I was like this, oh my God. And then we're going to go see Wicked. Best day of our lives. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Then they were like, actually, La Pecora Bianca is across the street from your apartment. So why don't we go meet outside of your place and then we'll walk to Lincoln Square. And I was like, I love it. And Jake, you want to take it from here? What went down?
Well, we were we've been dreaming of seeing this movie while taking a one-way flight to Eddyville.
Right.
And I'm not going to elaborate on that. If you know what it means,
If you know,
you know.
if you know, you know.
But
With a connection through Pennsylvania.
I forgot about that. Pennsylvania, and that one's really niche. And if you get it, you get it.
You get it. We had a one-way ticket to Pennsylvania and then a touchdown in Eddyville as we entered the theater, to which I spilled my popcorn all over.
And
the
we found
chairs.
ourselves, say with me, in Oz. So that's that was the environment we were in when we saw this film.
We also kept talking about how we need to plan out when we're gonna pee because famously this movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes.
I didn't pee. Okay, that's the first thing that I should say about this movie. It does not. Sammy said it best.
Yeah.
Like the movie ended, and I literally could have gone to the bathroom, gotten a snack, come back, and I could have watched.
I could have watched
3 hours.
another 3 hours of
It did not feel long at all.
At all, but also in on the flip side of it, it like felt deliciously long. Do you know what I mean?
They took their
like-
time. That's the
Yeah.
other thing we wanted to say. Every moment they took their time with it. They didn't rush anything. Sometimes in musicals in general, you can feel like, oh, like whoa, hold on. This I love. They split it into
Well,
the
Wicked
two.
the stage show is incredibly rushed, and I think it has to be.
Yeah, right.
Like it's.
I mean, you have a lot of ground to cover.
I'm gonna sound like I'm critiquing Wicked the stage show, but I'm not. It's work. That's the beauty. They adapted the stage musical. They took the stage musical that we know and love, and didn't just say we're gonna put it on screen. They said we're gonna take what you guys love about it and put it on screen, but we are going to adapt it for the screen.
Right.
So it's going to be a different experience than what you are all used to and love. I need to be talking directly into the mic. I'm now realizing. I'm sorry, y'all. We're getting back on track.
That sounds great.
To
me.
Also, we should say right here, right now, full spoiler review.
Full spoilers are about to be had.
At the time of this release, our release drop is November 27th, the day after my birthday. I hope you all wish me a happy birthday.
If you don't,
If you don't, I'll forgive you.
that's sweet of you.
So that will have been 5 days since proper release. Divas, if you haven't seen the movie by now, I'm not gonna say I'm upset. I'm just disappointed.
And I'm also confused.
I'm also confused.
on why you haven't seen it. I'm surprised that you haven't seen it
Already.
You haven't seen it already, and this is November 21st.
Yeah. I was going to say we saw the early access. So that's all I'm going to say. So full spoilers, full steam ahead. Ready, set. If you don't want to go, if you don't want to,
Go watch the movie, come back.
Come
But
back
Make
and-
sure
and
come back
listen.
because we need the views, likes, subscribes, and we need you to support. our
I need
podcast.
you.
Okay, so let's get into it.
So logo appears very old-fashioned, black and white. You hear the faint screams of whether maybe it's Dorothy in a tornado, maybe it's Elphaba melting. We're not really sure, and it's so faint. Boom, puddle. Hear
Oh, I
sounds
forgot
of
about the puddle.
friction. Glinda, how dead is she? Is the first thing you fucking hear?
Yeah.
I was on the edge of my seat. Panning slowly through the literal corpse of Elphaba, essentially the puddle of which she has melted.
The lake
The lake with like sizzling of like just like the melting.
of magic.
Voiceover Ariana Grande. Well, with the time dragon clock, I'm at this point jaw
Locked
on
in.
the floor.
Locked in.
I am in Eddyville. I am like, oh
With
my
a connection layover in Oz.
Woof. Flying monkey, I'm assuming it was Chistery.
The most
through,
famous of the flying monkeys.
of course. Breaks through the circular window with all the flying monkeys on The Wicked Witch of the West is Dead. Overture starts. I had full body chills as they flew. We watched them fly over the rainbow as the
Right. There's a lot of nice nods to both like the original Wizard of Oz film, but also just like the story in this this world in general.
The opening was one of the most incredible experiences because I feel like a lot of what we've heard is that we feel like we've seen so much of this movie through the campaign, like the marketing campaign.
Right.
First of all, we haven't seen shit.
The press tour.
The press,
that's the gag, is you really haven't seen anything.
You haven't seen
anything. There was like 3 clips where I was like, I've seen this.
And even the things I'd seen, I was like, I didn't know it was going to be in that context. And I thought I did.
Right.
I thought I knew 100%. But so the opening really had me be like, it reminded me a little bit of, do you know in Into the Woods, Stephen Sondheim always talks about how what he wanted with the opening was to hear the words "once upon a time," which tends to relax people, and then immediately have that and like wake them up. Like it was like, oh, I know what this is, and then boom, like you don't. And that's exactly what this opening was. It was like, I know these lines, but I've never thought about it like this.
And this is something that I'll say at the beginning, but this will track throughout the whole episode that we're currently filming. John M. Chu, the direction is probably my favorite part.
I agree.
I mean, even like there was one moment, and this is kind of getting ahead. We'll get back, but this like I don't even know who thought of this, but I was like, it has to be John M. Chu. There's a part where they use like an overhead projector, Dr. Dillman, to like show like a presentation in class. I think about the animals,
right?
And there's a point where he like clicks a button, and I was like, okay, so like how in this world, like there's of course famously no electricity in Oz, right? So I was like, how are they going to do this? And it's like they click a button and like the light shine. They close the windows and the light shines through the specific refracts to like show the projection. Little moments like that, like just prove how in touch with the world this whole creative team was. Who thinks of that? John M. Chu or like the writer or who?
I mean, I feel like it's everyone. I feel like it's just the collaboration effect where John M. Chu is like, I want this, and then people.
It's amazing.
Like, come up with it, and he probably sends them back to the drawing. Like, I don't even know, but
anyways,
back
to the beginning.
I think back to the opening. I've also been saying this about Ariana Grande Butera,
right?
Future Oscar winner,
front runner.
My front runner. My goodness.
Thank goodness. Shut up.
Shut the fuck up. That was good.
That was good.
I have 2 things to say about Ariana Grande Butera. Number 1.
Wait, can you say both of them?
I'm actually just gonna say one.
Okay.
The other one you'll have to guess.
You'll have to guess. It's on the Patreon.
So part 1, Wicked. The opening. I have said this, and I feel like maybe I've said this on the pod before, but I really don't love in Wicked the stage show when the Glinda gives away the ending through No One Mourns the Wicked. I like seeing the plastic Glinda we know from The Wizard of Oz because it's a theatrical event, because it just makes the ending when you see behind the facade a little bit more heartbreaking when you're like, oh, I didn't realize this is what you were going through. Mm-hmm. A movie's a little different because we've had 20 years of time since the stage version came out. So we know this is a story about them being friends. We've also had a marketing campaign that has gone everywhere about these 2 girls being like, we went
sobbing
through this
in each
together.
other's arms.
Right. Like it's like
every day.
There's no surprise here that I know for a fact they're friends. But now the way she delivered this performance, it was so brilliant because there was the heartbreak and you could tell that she was having a very difficult time going through this. I'm literally going to cry. Like you could see, but it wasn't giving anything away to the Munchkin people. Mm-hmm. They didn't clock her for a second.
They
you know
didn't
what
clock
I mean?
her.
Like
they didn't clock that T.
The other T was I'm obsessed with this interpretation of Glinda, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. And it's this: someone we're gonna skip kind of to Shiz, someone who has used her charm and her pizzazz, we should say, to her
her X factor.
Her X factor. You know what I mean? Someone who she's just inherently, people are drawn to her. She's very charming. She's very funny, and like people like her a lot.
That's what she's good at.
She's say it with me, popular. And like the gag is, it's gotten her really far in life.
Yeah.
And not she's incredibly privileged, but almost not in a way that she is fully unaware of. And also, she's used her privilege for good a lot. Did you see what I caught there?
Yes.
But the gag is, she meets this girl in college who is the first person who is not fucking with her and as like
at
all. And she's like, so my entire life, people have like,
her eyes twitching.
Could you imagine? You're like, my entire life, everybody has loved me, and I've done such good through people loving me and my charisma.
This
and
is
charm.
what I'm good at.
And you, I just can't cast a spell on you in that way. Why don't it's almost
Cast a
like
spell.
I've been throwing these little Easter eggs in, like I'm John M. Chu, like, but
Yeah, Mr. McGuire himself.
But do you know what I mean, Mr. McGuire? We should have him on the pod. But
He's alive.
yes, very alive.
I'm so sorry.
He's like very young.
Oh.
Like, not very young, but like he's alive. Let's hear it for Gregory Maguire. What a brilliant idea. Okay, so what I'm just gonna say is, like, as opposed to coming off as like, I don't get everything I want. It's like, it's someone who sure has to have a little wake up to her privilege, but like she hasn't had to until this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and she's not.
It's a challenge.
And she's not a bad person. She just has functioned this way.
Right.
And this is the foul to her, you know.
Right.
And kind of similarly to with Elphaba, I feel like Elphaba has never met anybody with that level of confidence and self-assurance in that way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
they challenge each other, and they're like foils to each other. You're right. Yeah.
Did I say foul?
You said fouls, but I was
I'm sorry, Dr. Buffkin, my sophomore year English teacher.
I was like this. I was trying
A
to think
foul.
if that was a word
It's like
that I did not
isn't that like a
know.
dead pigeon?
A foul?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Nate.
Hey. Yeah.
Is that
Let's ask our producer.
I don't know. Let me ask
Can you
the
look up?
audience.
Yeah, it's a foul. Let me
Oh,
look.
I'm glad.
No, yeah, I agree, and I also they are foils in each other in the way that I think the whole idea is confidence
Mm-hmm.
and like being, or not even being confident, it's being like knowing yourself. And Ariana Grande talks about this, and this is kind of getting towards the end, like famously, where are you coming or not? And she goes, here, like, let me get you a jacket, girl. I'm not coming with you.
Let me get you a jacket. You look cold.
Let me get you a jacket. You look cold. I'm gonna
You're shivering.
I'm gonna stay here. I'm not gonna go fly on the broom.
Right.
That part, Ariana Grande talks about this on like a part of the press tour, where like I think oftentimes the easy answer is like, oh, Galinda is just like, she's afraid and she's not
Right.
She just
She's
can't
not
do it.
strong enough.
She's not strong enough. But Ariana Grande is like, no, I actually think that like she knows herself so well that she's so sure of herself that she's like, that is just not, like, we're different, and like what I want is, and what I'm good at is putting people at ease, making people laugh, leading people in that way. Like, I'm not the revolutionary, but
Right.
I'm good at other things.
And also, like, in that moment, and I thought they did such a good job with that whole scene, everything with the monkeys, like the wings building.
Oh, it was so sad.
It was so sad. And you watched Elphaba and Glinda's perception of the world they knew and grew up with completely fall apart and crumble, which is why I also loved that flashback sequence with baby Elphaba, where she was showing baby Nessa Rose the book.
Oh,
And you know, with the
yes.
pop-up book, and she's showing her the wizard, and she's like, isn't the wizard amazing? The wizard is amazing. He'll grant your wish. She sings The Wizard and I, 10 minutes later, and you're building that this world, they constantly are the wonderful Wizard of Oz, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, in the same way that in our society, we have these things that are built into us, and that was one of them. And you watch these two young women completely have their worlds be shattered by this man and be like, he's a phony. And Elphaba is someone who is fight or flight, ready to go, fuck it, I'm going to fly out of this room and start a revolution. And I understand.
She chooses fight, and she also chooses flight.
You're right. She is both fight and flight. But Glinda, I do understand being like, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that everything I've known is not real.
And it doesn't make her a bad person, because put yourself in those shoes.
For real,
Can you
though.
imagine your whole, like, like she basically is I have to leave my family, my boyfriend, my
Yeah.
friends, my wardrobe. Like not like those seem like tiny things, but like I mean,
Am
it's
I ready to be essentially an enemy of the state
right.
in 1 second? Like, that is a huge fucking decision to make. And that's not about lack of bravery. That is just like, I'm not there. Like,
Right.
I'm, it's, I think and I think that the movie really lets you get close up into that as
Yeah.
opposed to the stage version where you have such bigger ideas of like,
This movie
you know-
makes it seem more in two words: one, timeless,
Mhm.
and two, real.
yeah.
It really feels. I mean, just like with the current state of the world too. Like it's timeless in the story of like. I mean, the wizard is, and this is maybe a stretch, but is it like the wizard is kind of like a fascist and
Yeah.
like rules like as like a cult of personality, like people like is fake.
Well-
Tells people what they want to hear, lies.
I always thought of the wizard as kind of representing any semblance of power, right?
Right.
Like, or any, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like what makes it timeless is that it kind of fits no matter what's going on with our government, with our world. You can always kind of draw a parallel to what's happening, whether it be kind of good or bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, putting on a facade is something that I think people can probably relate to on both sides. The fascism part of it, the control part of it, the phony part of it, the retaining of power. I think all of it has kind
Right.
of these Universal Studios themes.
Yeah.
And then I
it's
think
really interesting.
that's what Michelle Yeoh's character is so brilliant to me too. Is just I think Madame Morrible. Also, let's go back. So Madame Morrible has a grand entrance that I can only describe as
iconic.
Holy shit!
I love in a movie when someone enters on stage and all you hear is this.
Heels.
Heels, but you see the back of them only, and they like, and everyone's like,
Oh my god, there were multiple. Of
there were
those in this
multiple of
movie.
those where you just see the back, like even Alphabet at the beginning, you
Yeah.
just see the back of their head, and then they turn around.
Oh,
Students.
do you know what else I loved?
What?
Glinda, was it true you were her friend?
I can't hear you. That part.
Oh no. Oh, that too. I thought you were being serious for a second. I was like, what's wrong with the mic?
Oh no.
No. I'm sorry. I can't. Her in the bubble.
Her in the bubble. I can't. Hold on.
Hold on. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
wait,
Yes.
what?
Was it true you were her friend? Doo, 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 doo.
Oh.
Flashbacks of the two of them without showing Cynthia's face.
The motifs were there.
I have full body chills again. And then I'm gonna cry again. Ari's heartbreak because she thinks, we were talking about this last night, that her best friend is dead. She's like, she is gone.
And this is something is this a Nelson Mandela effect? Someone walk me through this.
Uh-huh.
I thought for the longest time that Glinda knew that Elphaba and Fio ran off together at the end. A huge spoiler alert. That I thought until I was corrected by my good soul sister over here. I thought that they knew.
I
she
can give you
knew.
text.
But then you gave me text receipts.
I was gonna say I can
and
give
said,
you.
well, there's actually, Jake, funny that you say that. There's a literal line. That
I
says,
only wish that Glinda could know
she
that
can
we're
never
alive.
know.
She can never know. Come, who can say? Sing, bitch.
Amazing.
Which makes me cry, and then no one mourns. Like, what's the final fucking shot of this movie gonna be? Anyway, Wizard and I. Let's get to it.
Okay, this is something. Let's get into this. Let's get into this tea.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande is getting her flowers, and she
100%.
should, because she's probably going to win an Oscar for this performance. However, when I think about the parts that I liked the most, it's Cynthia Erivo's parts.
Mhm.
And girl, I get it. But The Wizard and I just don't think she's getting enough flowers for. I mean, of course, she's like, people are like, yes, they're both amazing, but everyone's been chatting about Ariana.
I think it just was a situation where it was Ariana's to surprise us. You know what I mean? Like, it
Right,
was
everybody
like,
knew Cynthia was gonna be amazing. Maybe that's what it is.
I think it's just like Cynthia is surprising me, though. I will say, though, because I knew Cynthia was going to be great. It's inevitable. But I didn't realize she was going to kind of like go in the direction she went in.
Her alphabet is very different from any other alphabet.
Yeah.
It's less angry at the world,
Mm-hmm.
more sure of yourself, and more I wear my heart on my sleeve.
And you know what's also so interesting? And she's kind of talked about it a little bit in terms of like the design of the movie. You kind of can see the way they twist her into becoming the Wicked Witch. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
all of the things she does that are just her wearing her heart on her sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it that because she's doing it full throttle, full throttle, if you get it, like Elphaba Throp.
Work.
Which they dropped that one more than once. In the musical, she says Elphaba Throp once, and it's kind of random. You're literally like, I'm sorry, your last name is Throp.
Work.
What? But they had a couple Elphaba Throps, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go to Wizard and I for a second.
The Wizard and I is the best part of the movie.
I would agree. I don't know. I just because
actually, there's 3 parts of that I think are we'll get to all 3.
This is why I'll say I don't know. I'm gonna say it's absolutely a highlight of the movie for me. The only reason I say I don't know is because I don't want it to sound like the movie drops after Wizard and I, because it doesn't. It keeps going up till it defies gravity.
Work.
But the gag was
that number
from the jump. I thought Michelle Yeoh was brilliant.
Yes.
I mean, her singing is like fine. She wasn't skrelting, but who cares? It's Madame Morrible.
And the thing I like about this movie the most is that, I mean, famously, I've always said this, but when text is not enough, when speaking is not enough, is when you sing.
Right.
And this movie,
when it's not, you dance.
And it's not
when
you
it's
dance,
not,
you belt.
You start a podcast. Oh.
Both. Porque no los dos. But what this movie does well is that it does transition into song very easily, and this is part of the show too. The way that it's written by Stephen Schwartz is like,
and Winnie Holtzman
cameo. Yeah. Oh,
girl, we'll get there.
We'll get there too. But just like the whole of like, I'll write it once to the wizard. Like it's so speaky, and then it goes into they do a good job at that. Wizard and I.
And I thought the acting was so. Also, the Madame Morrible being a safe place for Elphaba on the jump,
and then being a safe place for Galinda at the end when they hug, and then you can tell Madame Morrible is that girl. I hate to use. No, I was gonna say is a bitch.
Well, yes, her last name is Morrible.
She is. In this movie, does a good job of expanding her character a little bit. She's crazy. But
also, like, in the musical, I think she comes off a little muhaha villain, you know? Which she should. Again, I sound like I'm critiquing the musical, and it's not that I am. It's that they're
different.
And those things would not have worked in a movie.
Right.
And I loved when Elphaba had her freak out with Nessa, and Madame Morrible being like, I did that, so you can all expect the unexpected. Immediately, Elphaba is like, I trust her. She's here to help me. She's here to cover me up.
She's a manipulative... And she's manipulative.
But she's doing it. She knows exactly. That's the best villain, too. She doesn't think she's the bad guy. She wants to get ahead. She wants to get ahead. She knows Elphaba will help her get ahead. She knows Glinda's standing in her way until they switch. And she realizes Glinda's actually the one that's going to help her get ahead. She's smarter than anyone there. She's smarter than Elphaba.
And I'm saying, if you don't know the show, like at all, if you don't know the story... Which my favorite part was at the end of the movie. We stayed through all the credits, hoping that there was going to be, because none of us had service. My phone was dead. Everyone's phone was like begging for service.
I also was shaking.
Yeah, and so we were debriefing, but we wanted to know if there was an after. Which that's my only note.
Yeah,
you've already filmed part 2. Please give us something to gag us.
Could you imagine if the trailer for part 2 started?
Like, why not? Like, why not? It's ready. That was my one note, John M. Chu. Coming for you.
Yeah.
But there was this lady who turned around and she was like, part 1? Is there another part? And we were like this. I wish I was you. I wish I was sitting down in this theater not knowing anything I was about to see and being gagged at everything. Turn.
But the thing about Madame Morrible that I was going to say was, at the end of the day, this is my hot take, and take it or leave it. She's smarter than Elphaba. And to an extent, she wins. Not fully at the end.
Not fully at the end.
Because she does go to jail, so I guess she doesn't. But in terms of her, at some point, goal to ruin this woman, she does.
She's a worthy opponent.
Yeah.
She's a formidable opponent to Elphaba.
The only reason she doesn't win is because Elphaba fakes her own death.
And I know, yes. And I also know that they're going to make, apparently there's talks of making this Wicked cinematic universe a movie that I actually would really like to see.
A prequel with Madame Morrible?
Prequel of Madame Morrible's life. Of her maybe being like, oh, she's going to know how to do the Grimmery. She's going to be the one of the,
Oh. Do you know what else I thought? And I didn't need it. I was just kind of expecting it to happen. In the Lion Cub scene when Elphaba puts everyone to sleep with the poppies. I love
that scene.
Yeah, that was great. When Madame Morrible comes in and finds everyone, I thought she was going to make it snow because weather's her specialty. And snow in the Wizard of Oz movie is what stops the poppies.
Oh, I did not know that.
You know how like when they're like on their way to the Emerald City and the Wicked Witch is like, poppies! And then they fall asleep and the only one that doesn't, I think, is the Scarecrow. I think. Fierro gag.
That is gag.
And then Glinda is like, Snow.
I need to rewatch that movie because I haven't seen it in a while.
I think because I did it at Wichita, I like know so much
Right.
about it. And I'm really gay.
No.
But
No.
yeah, guys, this is my apartment, by the way. So I literally live like this.
What do you guys think about these? Wait, we already talked about them, right?
We did, but
What do you guys think? Leave them in the comments.
leave it in the comments.
But
do
Madame
you know what
Morrible-
our goal is?
What?
The goal is to have these women sign them.
Are they all?
I think this one's attainable.
I think that this one is. I think they're all going to be hard.
I
But
think
but you've already met one.
I've met one. I won't say where because I don't want to give away too much about their location.
Their
in
location,
life.
but
Let's just say we may be neighbors.
maybe.
And let me just say I may have freaked the fuck out. Actually started shaking.
I can't believe you saw her.
If I ever met her,
It's over.
it's over. Unfortunately, I will never meet the one up top.
But we've all met him though.
We've all met him.
Wait, let's get back to the Wizard
back
and
to
I.
Wicked. Oh, back to Wizard and I. Oh my God, we're literally still a Wizard and I.
I know. So we're gonna move past this quickly. But
Yeah. No.
no, actually, sorry, we're gonna take our time.
Yeah.
like the movie. The best part of the Wizard and I. First of all, the singing live, best choice ever. It sounds
Incredible.
so real, and because it is.
The vocals are insane.
Even like when she entered the gazebo. and
Also, can I debunk something really quick? And I
Yeah.
don't know this for a fact. The singing live thing. Did they sing live 100% of the film? No way. There's
Right.
absolutely no way.
it's also mixed.
It's mixed, but I don't give a fuck. And so the people that are like, that definitely didn't look live. I'm like, you guys are...
Have you ever heard them sing? Either of them sing before ever outside of the movie? Because guess what? They're the best vocalists of our generation.
Also, like, what do you mean you wanted them to sing every single shot of this live? Do you realize then they would have to sing like this? Well, like, at some point,
Yeah.
you have to create a thread. So, of course, there's recordings because it's shot by shot. They're going to have to create a line. There's an orchestra underneath them at some point.
right? Can you grow up?
Like they
Grow
sang live the parts that they were able to.
I hope you're happy.
Like, that was
I hope
live.
you're happy now.
We'll get there.
When we get Wizard and I,
Wizard and
best
I.
part, literally this, there's the thing that I like most about John M. Chu's direction is that it's unexpected. Everything is so unexpected. Like the end, like
Mhm.
the easy choice is, that's not how it ends. The thing about Wizard and I, like just the fact of her running, like
And then the
the ending, when people see me, they will scream. Her just running through the field, like
And
gets
then
to
the
the
little
end.
levitation moment
The
where
little-
she, like, kind of, like,
Flies
flies
a
a
little
little bit.
It's so good. I have chills. That's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
When she runs and then at the end, like she just sees like the world in front of her.
And isn't the gag, too, of, like, that whole number, she starts at the bottom of Shiz, climbs her way to the top.
Oh,
Till she's
yes. I
literally
didn't even think
at
about
the edge
that.
of a mountain and can't
Looking
go
at
any
what
further.
could be.
And then by the end of the movie, she's quite literal. Like, she's on the precipice there. And then by the end, she's flying off of it. Also, like, it's very also clearly kind of a reference to Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music in a beautiful movie musical homage way. Like, that is one of the most, like, iconic movie musical moments of all time. And, like,
It's timeless.
it's timeless. It's referenced a lot. It's referenced in, I mean, it's from The Sound of Music. It's referenced in Beauty and the Beast. And then here we are with, like, her running through the hills. And it's because it works. It works perfectly.
yeah.
Wizard and I
amazing.
was insane. I don't even think we need to talk too much about what is this feeling because
You've seen it.
you've seen it.
Dear Galinda, you. Bowen Yang.
Bowen Yang.
is so good in this movie.
And wrote here often. Fantastic line. She doesn't even raise her hand. Fantastic. Just so many moments. He was hilarious. Also, I love how queer Oz is in general.
I love how this part is so interesting to me because Elphaba has never been played full time by a black woman,
Right.
correct? And so the fact that I just love how Elphaba represents the other in general too.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Oz is queer, so it's not like she's not being bullied because she's queer, but then there's also like there's a lot of people of color. I mean, even her sister's so accepted,
Right.
and that plays on a whole different like take too. But like, it's just it's a universal experience of being one bullied
Mhm.
and two the other.
Well, and that's why also, like,
No one can tell that story better than
Right.
Cynthia Erivo in this moment,
Right.
I believe.
And Cynthia Erivo, I think, is so, and this is going to sound like a read, but I have nothing but love and respect for her, so I hope it doesn't. She's so beautifully odd as a human.
Mhm.
Like, and that's what this movie's about, is like, the things that make you weird and strange are your strength.
Right.
And she's so undeniably herself in these press interviews. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
even to, like, Ariana, who I think she's showing a more authentic version of herself, but, like, has been read for, having these different personalities. Cynthia's kind of always been Cynthia. Which is so Elphaba. And, like, we were talking about the, like, world in 2012 when Leah Michelle maybe was going to do it, and, like, how different that would be in a worse way. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, it would have been. We said it would have been like The Greatest Showman.
And, like, sure, I get it. She'd sing the shit out of it, and maybe she'd even act it great. But, like, in terms of the weird quality, Cynthia has something a little weird
in the most beautifully tragic way.
Yeah, but, like, weird. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean weird as a compliment, because that's what the unique is actually maybe a better word. But I also I'm weird as fuck, and I love it about myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's.
Well, I mean, I literally was sitting here thinking, who else could play, like, at 2024, or whenever it was filmed, 2022, 2023, who could play Elphaba? Like, I was even thinking, like, who was in the audition for Elphaba?
Right.
And I saw, like, these names. I don't know if it's true or not, but, like,
They recently were saying Gaga.
okay, so that one, that's, like, the closest I can think of giving an equivalent level of, like, interesting performance.
I agree, but even still,
I think Cynthia's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I saw this list of people like Jessie J, and I was like, yeah, Jessie J would have sung the fuck out of it.
Right.
But I just don't know how Jessie J. I mean, okay, so why don't we move forward into this conversation? Let's talk about Jonathan Bailey.
I was gonna ask.
Let's go to Jonathan Bailey. Okay, thank God you were gonna ask. Let's talk about Jonathan Bailey, and then we'll move into the moment of the film, which is
the
Ozdas Ballroom. That entire sequence.
Can I just say this? Foaming at the mouth like a rabid animal.
Don't even get me started.
That was crazy.
I don't even know what to say, because before this was, I mean, I always thought Jonathan Bailey was, like,
of course,
that girl, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I love him. This movie, I'm not kidding. Whenever he was on, I was like, it was like, like, get me out of my enclosure.
Yeah, literally chewing. I was itching. I was like this.
But and the best part is that he knows.
And so does Fierro.
Oh, and
here's the gag. I have always said, if you look at my bookshelf, there's a book called Change for Good: A Feminist History of Broadway, which I wrote a paper on my sophomore year of
clap
high
for
school.
Sammy. Okay, go on.
And it's actually also in our photo shoot work. But there's
I know. And were you gagged at that? How did you guys sound
like
off below? Go on.
There was this whole thing about how, if I disagree to an extent, but whatever. It was like, if Wicked is actually a feminist musical, why are they spending all of Act 2 fighting over a guy? Which I see there's a semblance of truth. I understand that. I also think there are a lot more factors at play, but sure. Valid critique, doesn't ruin it for me, but valid point. And every time I've seen the show, I've thought, when they're having what they have now called the catfight scene, I've always been like, obviously you're in a very loving relationship, but, like, if there was ever a guy that came in between us, the way that I would be like, hey, pause. Why the fuck are we letting this random guy have us almost want to kill each other? Like, what's happening? And because Fierro's in the musicals always come off a little bit just boy bandy.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it.
But this Fierro, from the second he came out there, sure, he had all the assholey whatever that they had to break down, but him and Elphaba on first meeting,
they meet first. Which is different in the movie.
No, they do in the musical first too.
But not the way they do.
Kind of similar. He runs her over with the cart, and then she's like, "Whoa!" Bangs the book on his chariot and is like, "Why did you do that? I'm whatever." And he's like, "I think that the driver thought he said green and he thought it meant go." And and then he meets Glinda. But they took that out, which I thought was
expanded it.
They expanded it, and this is kind of what I was getting to, was like, instead of it being like, I'm gonna make some assholey remark about you being green, she sees him. He's like, sorry, I literally didn't see you. And he was like, because I guess you must have. And she does. This color of her skin mixes in with the foliage behind him. He's like, mix in with the foliage. And
I loved how he said foliage.
Yeah, I was like, woof. And he meant it honestly.
He was very earnest.
He wasn't being like, I'm not being a dick. He was like, genuinely, you're green. And I I didn't see you.
It's
We're
nighttime.
We're in a
We're
green
in
forest.
the forest.
Like, and she then goes on to give her monologue that she's clearly practiced over and
I'm
over
not
again.
seasick,
I'm
I'm
not
not
seasick. I've always been green. And he doesn't give a fuck.
Right,
He's
he's like-
like, I didn't ask. I didn't say, wow, you're green. I didn't see you. He was like, I didn't see you because you're green. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and then he comes out with her with like, are you always this defensive? And so she's also met her match in terms of the like,
I don't know. She's like this.
she's kind of gagged.
She was gagged.
And then he's with Glinda, and Glinda and him bond over that charm element. This thing that has gotten them far with people their whole life is that they're charming and witty.
Yeah.
And so there's an actual now connection between both of these characters. It's not just we're hot, you're perfect, so we're perfect together. That's expanded,
Yeah.
which just raises the stakes, which is what I would like to talk about next. Excusez-moi. The stakes were so high.
STAKES. Yes. the
Let's
stakes were
just
high.
say they were not medium rare. They were overcooked.
They were well done.
They were well done.
Well done.
Perfect example was the chase scene into Defying Gravity. Holy shit.
Yes.
Jump scare alert.
It was.
That
Oh my god! That
monkey.
one jump scare, I literally did let out a yelp.
Also, Elphaba left Glinda in the dust. She said that when they were ripping off her jacket,
Yeah.
Elphaba didn't turn around once. She said, bitch,
She said, "I'm out.
I'm out."
I have things I need to do. I have people I need to see. I need to fly."
She left
out.
Ariana Grande Butera alone for Chistery to eat.
That's-
She
Yes.
did.
Okay. Yes, that's true. The stakes are so high, and that gets me. Honestly, it's a good transition into what might be like the moment of the film,
Defying
which
Gravity?
is
Oh.
into
Oh, the Oz
the
Dust.
Ozdust. First of
We
all,
haven't even touched popular. I'm sorry. We'll keep going.
the Ozdust ballroom is underwater. Amazing choice.
I lost my mind.
Amazing choice. And then you had that animal band absolutely shredding
Just
the
shredding
drums,
it down.
literally working them out.
Yeah.
Okay, this moment, it's rather. Oh my god, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And there, it really is. This is the best. I mean, this is like a testament to that thing we said earlier. Of they take each moment. They're not precious with it, and they take their time with it.
Right.
Like this whole moment in the musical is probably like maybe 3 minutes, but like this sequence
If
is
that. I was gonna say maybe less.
like
yeah.
one and a half.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's like a 5 or 7 minute sequence.
Right.
Of Elphaba coming down, being sad, being bullied down,
Yeah.
dancing by herself. And then Glinda doesn't join right away.
No.
She's going through her own moment of being like, oh, I just did this. The whole Madame Morrible coming down, being like, bitch. First of all, Madame Morrible seeing all this underage drinking in the Ozdust ballroom. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely choked at that.
And also, like, that never read well to me in the musical either. But like, there's just no way around it. Like,
Right.
they did. It didn't. I was laughing because I was like,
I was like, yeah, Michelle
they're
Yeoh.
like, we're not allowed to leave school.
Michelle Yeoh's just like there watching it all, being
She's
like,
like, I guess I'll. It's.
But then the moment when they start,
I was gonna say
dancing-
that's so CCM coded.
what?
The teachers being like, we know you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I could kind of forgive it, is because like
Well, she has other things. I mean, she's literally trying to become.
she's head shistress and she's trying to become the press secretary.
She's trying to become the. Well, she's. I honestly think she's trying to become the most powerful woman in Oz.
Well, yes.
Well,
But by spoiler alert, by Act 2 she will be the press secretary officially.
Claro que sí.
Well, I don't know if they mentioned it. Usually she says that when she comes in, when they're like, Madame Morrible, you're here at the Emerald City. And she's like, I'm the new press secretary. You do something for the wizard, he does something for you. Like, you know.
And I like how Michelle Yeoh. We'll get back to that.
There was none of that, like, bravada.
Really
like,
bravada. Yeah, which, I mean, that reads for the musical because it's like you're on a Broadway show. But
Right.
this is like a movie that you have Michelle Yeoh
There's
playing
this kind
it.
of take on Broadway, which, again, makes perfect sense for the show, of, like, almost retired Shakespearean actress. And for the musical, for the movies, excuse me, there was none of that. It
Yeah.
was, she is the head shistress at Shiz University. She teaches her seminar of magic only when someone special comes along, and her specialty is, say it with me, 1, 2, 3, weather.
Weather.
You mustn't get wet, dear. Also, they justified that line for fucking real, because in the musical it's funny, haha, you mustn't get wet, dearie, and it's like, oh, but why? Like, she's not
And
allergic
she was like,
to water.
You can't be wet because you have to be
Meet the wizard.
meet the wizard, and you have to look good.
Yeah, that was good. You mustn't get wet because you've got to meet the wizard. And it's like, that's funny. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
No. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're here. We're dancing. Galinda joins. And this is what I said to you last night after we debriefed at the famous pub right next down the street on 71st Street. with the barkeep that I'm obsessed with.
I'm obsessed with her.
I don't know her name.
We walked into an old-timey Irish pub, me, Jake, and Eli. Still, I will say, landing from Pennsylvania and still kind of dropped into Eddyville and simmering off of it, I should say.
Simmering.
And I will say the bar was completely empty except for two people at the bar. And
It was silent.
And the barkeep. And we were like this, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande Butera are giving. Like,
There's
literally.
a Knicks game in the background.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we're sitting there. I said this last night, but the fact is, like, the fact that Elphaba cries, not like when she gets embarrassed at the beginning, like Cynthia Erivo, talking about this moment in particular. Like, she gets embarrassed, she starts dancing. She's not crying because she's sad for herself. She's not crying because she gets embarrassed or she's shocked. She starts crying when Galinda starts dancing with her out of, like, just kind of like a relief of, like, it's a relief.
Well, and there's a weight off her shoulders of, like, she's had to be so strong for her whole life and be ahead of the joke and be prepared. It's why that whole speech happens of, like,
Her guards are up.
her guards are up from the second, and there's a moment of, like, someone took a little bit of the weight off of my shoulders, a little bit in this
After
moment.
being really crazy mean to me.
Yeah, but also, like, what an olive branch, you know what I mean? Like, it's the fact that, like, and we're gonna hear it in part 2, like, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for, you know what I mean? Like, these
It's a
people-
friendship. It's a real friendship. Like, and that happens when you're, like, in adolescence, when you're going through, like, high school, like, or even
Bitch,
college.
they're 18. We hated each other for a
right.
minute
Like,
in
you
college.
go, and
like,
that's just how friendships go.
and here we are.
For
good.
That was amazing. But that's one tear that comes down her cheek as she's dancing with Galinda, and then it goes into Popular, which is an iconic performance.
I feel
by
like
Ariana Grande.
I only have one thing to say about Popular. My favorite dance move of the whole thing. You're gonna say, "Oh, is it when she swung on the chandelier? Oh, is it the Batma?" No. Now that
the
we have,
Batma was right.
mine was right before the Batma, and I'm actually gonna get up and do it for you viewers.
Oh my God, I forgot. And now we can actually do things.
fuck. I'm attached. I'll just say this. She does a little chorus line. Out, in, out, in.
Oh, yes, and it's so quick.
Screamed. I literally, when she said, gotta, I said, oh my God. I was like,
That was so
crazy.
good.
This is the thing. Popular was so genuinely funny. Like it was.
The key. Wait,
Oh my God. When she kept modulating. Also, my other favorite beat was when she goes, "Did they have brains or knowledge? Don't make me laugh. They were, Cynthia, popular." Right! I lost it.
Oh my
I was
God.
like,
That
oh
was
my
so
God.
good.
Also, her taking her glasses off and going, "Oh, no, put those back. That's not okay. That's better." She's so funny. Also, when she was doing the ball gown shit, and then she was just on the floor going like this for like 45 seconds. Like,
Oh my God, it was so good.
she-
Also, one thing about vocals in this entire movie, every option that they did that was not written, that's different, I loved.
Can I say this?
Yes.
I need it to say exclusive to the movie.
No one, if I hear anyone do,
And
and you're not Cynthia Erivo, you're
that's-
fired.
That's theirs, and also this is not trying to read the women that are playing the roles right now. They're brilliant vocalists. The vocal dexterity that those two women have.
Yeah.
They're the best singers in the world. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're recording artists. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, Popular was insane. We kind of already talked about the poppies, the lion cup scene, broke my heart.
Amazing.
Them grabbing Dr. Dillerman by the antlers.
I
lost
loved.
it.
Oh my God! One thing we didn't touch at the beginning, but I loved how
We're gonna
they
talk about the I thought you were going to talk about, because I literally heard you go, "Oh," in the movie
What?
theater when she has her freak out over Nessa and the wizard plaque comes down and underneath it is
the animal.
The animals.
It was kind of, but yes,
It's a beautiful
along the
moment.
lines. Just I love the whole expansion of the animals, like
Mhm.
of like how at first they came for them and then
Yeah.
and then they'll come for you. Period.
It's the quite literal scapegoat. Like it's like that's
Literal
what they're
referencing.
referencing.
I was going to say that the fact that the bear nurse.
Oh yes,
That's a choice they make at the very beginning of like the nurse being an animal and like being like, "Oh, I'll take care of you." Like,
I'm
don't
curious
worry.
if that's in the book. I haven't
know.
I haven't read the book,
either.
but I'm gathering that probably is from the
I
book.
loved that.
I thought that was great.
choice.
And I thought they handled it really well too, because they made it so that she had a connection to the animals. She was raised by one of the animals. But you would also think that this character would still feel this way had that not been the
Nevertheless,
case.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it just adds to it as opposed to being like, oh, and that's the thing about sometimes, like, I remember when the live action Beauty and the Beast came out and it felt like they were just filling a bunch of plot holes, and I was like, no one asked for this plot hole to be filled, you know,
Right.
like,
Just vote.
just vote.
Just vote.
Just vote.
Just
That was
vote.
me sitting through Beauty and the Beast. I literally was like, just vote, when they were like, and the powerful spell placed amongst the castle, and a spell amongst the villagers where they told they completely forgot about the monarchy. Bitch, I didn't ask. I didn't ask. Like,
I don't care.
and so similarly with Wicked, it's kind of the opposite. It was like they just expanded what we already know about these characters.
They were building. They were world building.
World building.
They were world building.
Speaking of world building, the little munchkins running through the poppy fields, which work that they planted, ringing bells because bells are a part of the munchkin culture. Clearly we see from the 1930s film Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. It's in the text, and we expand that to make it more real and have them ringing bells. That
I'm
big
sorry, but not
celebrational
the
moments.
Munchkin culture. Title of that.
Title of that. Also, did you catch the shot of them throwing out all the water they had been collecting?
Oh no.
When Glinda's entering during like that, no one mourns the witch. Like when she's already out there, they're like, when they're taking everything down, all the like propaganda from the witch. One of the things they were doing was like taking off these like huge barrels they had. That was called the water collection.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
We'll wait. We'll wait. Yeah.
But they were like taking away these. So it, like, it is like Munchkin culture. It's like they've been like prepping for this battle, and in part of that has been collecting water because water can melt her. What? Melt her? Please, somebody go and melt her.
And congratulations to the person that booked the first solo of No One Mourns the Wicked, which is famously the best solo in all. That is my dream role. Listen, who cast it? Telsey?
Yeah.
Listen, Telsey. And who directed it? Or who?
Joe Mantello.
Joe Mantello. Listen to me. That's my dream role in life. That's all I want to do.
Mine's Glinda.
You would eat.
I'd be so good. Not as good as Ariana Grande Butera, but
Dancing Through Life. Amazing dance number.
oh my God, they ate down. Also, I want to get to One Short Day.
Oh my God, the cameos.
So famously, at this point, you're all aware of the cameos. I'm sure. I'm already seeing
I already
all
saw it
over.
on Twitter. Yeah, I already saw it on Twitter.
Well, at this
They
point,
did such a good job of hiding it.
I
had no idea.
I had suspects. I was fairly certain I was going to see Kristen in the movie.
Well, I saw the picture of Kristen in the movie.
I hadn't seen a picture yet, but just based off of the press tour, based off of her talking about it, I was like, Kristen's in the movie.
Right.
Adina hadn't done anything with the press tour, and I was like, Adina's not. Maybe Adina's going to be in part 2. I was like, that was kind of my thought. And I was like, but maybe she has a quick moment. I'm not sure. And I thought Kristen's moment was going to be fairly quick. When they came out, I was so happy we saw this before Twitter because
I was genuinely shocked.
Genuinely shocked.
I was shocked.
It genuinely took me a moment. Like, they came out and I was like, who's that? I was like, that's them. And I was like,
and they looked regal down.
yeah. Paul Tazewell costumes.
Honey.
He's going to win an
sign
Oscar.
me up.
It was beautiful. It was long. It was a really long tribute. It wasn't just like, Glinda. Like, it
was like, here's a musical number I wrote for you too.
Who's the main? Who's major itinerary?
In the moment of
making
each of them
all
being like
her tipping her hat,
being like, girl, hello.
and then the fact that the next thing you see is the two of them getting to the gates and saying, "We'll call it home too."
Also, something about that song that I never really realized that made me cry. Not even seeing Kristen and Adina, I was just happy to see them. I was like this.
Mm-hmm.
What made me kind of be like, oh my God, I have to wipe away tears right now, is the ending where they're like, what is the ending? How does it go?
We're just two friends, two good friends, two best friends.
No, maybe before that.
We're so many room too. We'll call it home too.
Yes,
Yeah.
that part. It made me think of New York City in a way.
Yeah.
Like how you just like literally you grow up like being like, oh, I can't wait to live in New York City. I can't wait to live in New York City. And then I was like, oh my God, I literally am watching Wicked in New York City with my friends. This is like the life I've dreamed of.
Well, and some of my favorite lines too. And I think one of the things
So
when I watched
sweet.
The Wizard of Oz as a kid, I always was a little gagged because the Emerald City just seemed like a palace as opposed to a city. You know what I mean?
And this one is very much like
A
this
city.
is like New York City.
You're at the capital.
This is
You're
like
in-
this is the hub of culture and art.
Right. No, for real. And that's why the lines that always made me cry in this movie was when she says, So I'll be back for good someday. It reminds me of like moving to the city. Like I'll be back here
And make my way.
And Glinda's like, I always dreamed I was gonna go to New York City and move here and make my way here.
Right, like she's going to be that bitch.
Yeah, she was like, I'm gonna move into. She doesn't know what, but she's gonna get an apartment. She's gonna do. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But the gag is,
What?
I don't know. I'm just so gagged.
I love that.
Stephen Schwartz.
Oh my god!
And
And they edged us for that one.
there's a lot of edging in this.
There's
movie.
a lot of edging in this movie,
and I loved it.
I loved it too. The whole like there's this like you see the book writer, then you see Adina and you see Kristen, and then you're like, okay, where's Stephen Schwartz? And at some point I was like, okay, is Stephen Schwartz going to be the wizard? We'll see you now. Right. And I think that John M. Chu knew everyone was going to wait for that moment, at least the gay people.
Right.
And so and they're waiting, and there's this other guy that's like. I was like, is this bitch gonna say it for real? This is what you're gonna get after Kristen for real.
After Kristen for real.
And then he's like,
and also, what a good reference to the Wizard of Oz of like the guy up there.
Like, it was so perfect.
Who rang that bell? Like that guy.
The wizard will see you now.
But also speaking of gay, I did love how pandered it was to gay people, because I feel like the gay adoption of Wicked is a very real thing. Like it came out, and I obviously was. We were both very young.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it had this resurgence post kind of in the rise of YouTube with bootlegs and all these things where gay people kind of were like, oh, I'm obsessed. And it's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, yes.
Like I saw it recently because my friend Alicia, shout out, is in the production. She's a swing. And I will say, like, it's a huge house. It wasn't the gayest audience I've seen on Broadway, but like the gays love this show. Mostly through YouTube, right? Like that's why we know every fucking word,
right? Because everyone knows. I love that TikTok of that guy that's like standing there playing Elphaba,
right?
And he's like Shoshana Bean
and like guessing
Christy
them.
Cates.
But the gag is, so people have so many different interpretations of this material, right? Mm-hmm. And it felt like a lot of this was the gay interpretation, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I appreciated that, but I do think it's because queer people are constantly at the kind of pulse of pop culture and art, and so you know.
The one thing I did like is there was a moment where Fiyero and Bowen Yang have that moment together, and at first I was like,
yeah,
I didn't love that moment just because I was like, okay, yeah, the straight guy, all the gay guys
like
are
queer
in love
baiting,
with,
yeah,
like queer baiting vibes. But then there was multiple moments where Jonathan Bailey was like for real flirting with the guy, like in Dancing Through Life, and I was like, okay, never mind. Like I love that he's maybe
queer,
queer, bisexual. I like how Oz was just super queer.
The other thing, I think at this point, so we've one short day, we've entered the Wizard Chamber. Wizard Oz had comedy.
Jeff Goldblum is amazing.
Jeff Goldblum was great. Also,
Perfect
I loved the map because it also kind of was a reference to the theater curtain. Also, we saw something about a desert. They've said that they were filming part 2 in a desert in Egypt, so we know that there's some desert shit about to happen.
Honey, I know it's gonna be like that's where she's her layer is.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that's where her and Fiyero are gonna go off to, where it's like we don't
beyond
know what's
Oz.
like beyond is like the lost desert or whatever. The other thing I was gonna say was one of the top lines of the film, yellow. It's giving road.
What color road
brilliant.
should it be? Yellow.
Purple,
it's just giving road to me.
Yellow. It's just giving road to me. She's fucking brilliant.
Brill.
We've already talked about the whole monkey scene and kind of how earth-shattering that was.
And sad.
Crazy chase scene. She leaves Glinda in the dust.
I love the hot air balloon.
The hot air balloon, also great reference.
Yeah.
There were a lot of air balloon references in Oz.
When she gets the invitation from the wizard. And,
it's like, ding,
Ariana's
ding.
like, I cannot.
But also coming so slowly in.
Right.
Oh my god, I can't. It's so cute. I cannot.
Should we go to Defying Gravity? This is the moment.
This was, I will say,
this was the moment of the millennium. First of all, this is the film of the millennium. I do believe this film will be like etched into like iconic, like Harry Potter level. Like I'm gonna watch this every fall.
Yes.
Anyways,
I have I when I own this movie,
you'll be set.
I'm gonna watch it all the time. I think it's my new comfort movie.
I want to watch both together.
Well, when they release a like DVD pack digitally, you know what I mean?
I want them to release one that goes
all the
like.
way
Can
through.
you imagine if it was just like one that
They
was all
need
the way
to.
through?
I'm
Why not?
I'm sure they can.
They should. I hope you're happy. Going from speech into tech or from speech into song very seamlessly. I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy now. Boom. That is expanded. I love how they everything like they didn't cut anything from the song.
No.
But they added longer moments.
And also, like, I feel like a lot of people's relationship to Wicked is the cast recording. That's their first
Yes.
jump in. And the cast recording is not the show in its entirety. There's a lot cut from it.
Right.
And there's a lot of scenes cut from it.
Right.
Which is a whole other thing we'll talk about on this pod, I'm sure, a lot about just, like, what makes a good cast recording. Wicked's actually not my favorite of the cast recordings because of the way it's been.
Yeah, well, they famously cut my favorite number of the song.
Wicked Witch of the East. I just think that there's also just some lines that propel the songs in a way that I could have used them as well, including like the Wicked Witch of the West monologue in Defying Gravity. I always wanted that in the cast recording.
Yeah.
And I think the way they splice up this whole sequence, because that's what it is. It's not a song; it's a sequence.
In a sequence is a series of moments, and
yes, split up by musical sections. You know what I mean? Like
it's
like
a series of chain like turns in first position.
One thing about Defying Gravity, it's like a chaîné, a series of chain like turns in first position.
The momentum keeps you going.
I would agree.
Spot
like
that monkey.
she's like prime example. We're just gonna skip a little bit in Defying Gravity. Like we're all waiting, we're edging for for it's not her. She has nothing to do with it. I'm the one you want. It's me. And instead of that, we have just chaos of Glinda being essentially like really hurt by these guards, and you just have Elphaba just kind of under her breath being like, it's me, falling off of the thing, seeing her younger self.
That is the best, because that is the motivation for her. The motivation is not to really save anyone else.
No.
The motivation is, I'm doing this for you, bitch.
Yeah.
Me. Us. We're doing this for the younger version of me.
Well, and there's a moment of, I'm gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, I'm falling to my death.
Like, I
flew too close to
ready.
the sun.
I'm not ready.
I'm not ready. I have nothing. I'm
because
falling.
famously, one thing about Elphaba is she does go before she's ready.
Yeah, mama.
She went.
Yeah.
And she went tumbling down. But then
she flies up.
She flies like a bird.
And then we hear the big moment we all know, and she's phenomenal, and she's flipping through the air, and she's acting down. And then we cut back to Michelle Yeoh's speech, and we see the reaction of the ripple effects it set off in Oz. Fiyero, her dad already dying. You know what I mean?
Nessa Rose being like, oh.
Nessa Rose essentially becoming the governess of Munchkinland
in real time.
We have her falling back.
And fuck Elphaba's dad, by the way.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, what a dick.
But then we have her singing and screaming gutturally to the point that it back to what we were talking about, it being a city, pretend it's a city, Fran Lebowitz. Her note, not only is she propelling through the air, it like blasts the electricity out of Emerald City.
Loved that. I forgot about that.
And it's like, what a great way to really make her a fucking enemy. It's like, this is a person who mutilated these monkeys, took away your electricity, and flew off. She's an enemy. Like, fuck her. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then, I mean.
And then, yes.
What?
Just that it doesn't end.
It doesn't, like, and I said this earlier, it doesn't end with the battle cry.
Right.
Which is so easy to click on blackout, wicked.
Right.
To be continued or whatever.
Oh my god, the to be continued was so magical. That was like,
I know. Instead, it prepares you for Act 2, where Galinda is being dragged off, but then gives that hug to Madame Morrible, and you can just tell Madame Morrible she's such a manipulative woman.
I love her.
You do?
I do. I love Madame Morrible.
She is Scorpio coded.
My favorite is just the monologue in Act 2. Hold on, let me find it.
Find it.
Let me find it.
Can you guys be quiet so he can find it?
Oh yes, it was simply her time. Was it? Or did you? Now you listen to me, Missy. The rest of Oz may have fallen for that aren't I good routine, but I know better. You've wanted this since the beginning. So just smile and wave and shut up. Good fortune, witch hunters, good fortune.
Are you guys impressed that he just like knows that? Are you guys like, that just kind of got me because I know that's word for word correct. And that's just plain gag. But I love, so it ends with a battle cry, but then she flies off. Madame Morrible takes Ariana Grande. The guards take them away. she flies off in the distance. It's faster.
She like propel, boom, flies up into the air.
To be continued. Amazing. Fucking amazing.
I'm very intrigued to see in part 2. I think something we're gonna see is, I could be wrong, is Elphaba's rebuilding of a relationship with the animals, because at the moment,
yes, the animals are pissed.
the animals are and rightfully so.
The monkey's like,
They've been told
What's
they were
it-
chasing her.
I know, they wanted her dead.
They wanted her dead. So I think part of what we're gonna have to see in part 2 in the expansion is her regaining the trust of the animals.
Because they said, bitch, that hurt.
Yeah, and it did.
Oh.
And
In the musical, remind me, how does that happen? The flying monkeys
kind
are
of
like,
similarly.
because Madame Morrible is in control of. It happens similarly, but
Well, they have
when does the allegiance transfer to Elphaba?
What do you mean? Oh, from the monkeys?
To the monkeys, yeah.
Well, in the musical, there's less of this element of like, you hurt me.
Right.
Also, the speech Madame Morrible gives isn't to the monkeys.
It's to Oz guards.
And so the monkeys are kind of just like an after. You know what I mean? Like, well, actually, but I feel like the allegiance has to start before.
But
Because,
title of ep.
Right. Actually, well, no, the title of ep is.
And you should hear this too.
But the allegiance, I guess, starts when she sets them free. You know what I mean? Like, I'll accept your proposition on one condition: you set those monkeys free.
Right.
Done. Fly, fly, fly! You there under the sack? No, not there, Dr. Dillamond. And then you know what my heart's desire is? To fight you till the day I die. Guards, guards. Fiyero comes in. We'll get there.
Wow. Act 2 is going to be dark. And I hope it's PG-13. There, I said it.
That would be gaggery.
Like, this is PG, but I hope this is PG-13. Like,
I wonder if it's going to be Wicked. It's going to be Wicked Part 2. I was going to say, or is it like the final? I don't know. Can you believe we saw Wicked the movie?
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming since I seen your face. But it get a bit.
And we just gave you a fucking shot-by-shot list.
I'm going to say this that we didn't talk about. This is kind of random. Brilliant, brilliant marketing. Shout out to the team of Death Becomes Her. First of all, shout out Death Becomes Her. We saw it. We loved it.
Amazing.
We'll probably get into that on a whole other episode.
Like,
The problem of Wicked coming out now is like we can't talk about Death Becomes Her.
But we'll talk about
Because
that
we need to talk about Death. Yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow. We'll talk about Death Becomes Her. But the thing about the marketing team is there was a full-on, I mean, like what I would consider a trailer for. I mean, I would have loved some show footage, but like
That was my only critique.
yeah. But I've never ever seen a Broadway trailer in a theater, and of all the places to do that, that was a great place to buy an ad. So very smart marketing on your part,
Great job.
PR team of Death Becomes Her. Bravo, more of that, more of that.
I'm going to go to the list that you text me, see if there's any
Yeah, when I was leaving Eddyville, I did text Jake and said, "This is just for me to remember. Please make sure I talk about all these things."
All right, let's go and see. We're about to get a wedding dress in Act 2. I know you're choked at
Oh,
that.
can I talk about the wedding dress?
Please.
So I had two theories. I put this on my close friends on Instagram. My two theories about the wedding dress were that A, they were in part 1 and they were going to be a quick splice sequence. She was going to say, my secret is Fiyero and I are to be married. It was going to splice really quickly to a wedding scene up. Our Alpha was going to be like, he's asked you already, back to reality. He doesn't know yet. I was hoping it wasn't that case. I was holding my breath as that happened. Because I am hoping the wedding dress is her walking down the aisle during Thank Goodness. I want her to be walking down the aisle to the bridge.
One thing about Sammy is that he loves a wedding gown.
I love a wedding dress. But also, could you imagine her walking down the aisle and saying, and if that joy, that thrill doesn't thrill like you think it will, still with this perfect finale, the cheers and the ballyhoo, who couldn't be happier? I couldn't be happier. Because happy is what happens when all your dreams come true.
Happy is what happens.
As she is walking up to the aisle to a man she knows does not want to marry her.
Because he's gay.
Blind, sorry.
Sorry, gay. Well, that was wicked. You don't even have to see the movie. We literally just, I mean, the way we used our descriptive words, I mean, I'm sure you were envisioning the movie in your head.
I'm going to go back 10 more times. I want to see it in 4D. I want to see it in IMAX.
I want to see it at
Dolby.
the Sphere, is what I
want
was
to see it
saying.
at the Sphere. I want to put it in an IV bag and inject it into my veins.
It was so good. Now what do we have to look? Well, I saw something today. Apparently Wicked Part 2 is released a year from today, the 21st.
365 days until I'm complete. I will never be complete until that's out.
Well, that was wicked. Do we have any other pieces of housekeeping that we need to share? So I
Um,
know you guys we have a new member of the team. Should we talk about Nate Jones?
Let's talk about Nate Jones.
So Tia has taken Ladies Who Brunch, and she was like, "Listen, we're gonna make it big.
Let's get your ducks in a row.
Let's get he gathered us.
He gathered us, and we've been gathered.
We've been gathered. That's why you probably see our branding is very different. We went dark on Instagram. We had a lot to go through. We've been having production meetings late into the evening. We've now incorporated a video element, which you are probably watching now.
Yeah, I hope it's still recording, and if not,
Me too.
Whatever.
I was gonna check, but then I was like,
I think whatever we have is good. Like,
yeah, because we're not gonna release the full episode on
Right.
DVD.
um,
But listen, so like we said, the Diva Hall of Fame is officially closed, but we are inducting the
final
two.
inductees: Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande Butera.
It's closed.
It's closed. Shall we move into our final segment?
Which we are going to keep because this is what's singular and unique to our
Singular and
podcast.
iconic to our podcast. I'll drink to that. Our final segment where we talk about what is choking and gagging us. I haven't said that in so long.
I know.
Choking and gagging us in musical theater and pop culture today. I think we've also talked about this. Might be a little recontextualized. It might also be what is pissing us off.
Yeah, I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that. And here's my I'll drink to that. Are you ready? Because I'm ready.
Yeah.
It's a Broadway national tour. If you
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I have to sit up. He is going to read. Please.
listen, I don't know why we're gatekeeping this, and I'm going to say this as someone who just got off of a Broadway national tour.
Read.
There's my poster right there for Frozen, the hit Broadway musical.
Read.
It was a Broadway national tour produced by Broadway's Disney theatrical group.
Read.
So you know what? It's a Broadway national tour, and even if you're not being produced by that same group, even if you're on a different tier of a contract, even if you're on a non-equity tour, if you're proud of that accomplishment and it's on the road and it's a book musical, you can call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. Congratulations, you are a working actor in today's day and age. I am not taking shit away from you. Mwah.
Yeah, honestly, T. And why do you care?
Why do you give a fuck?
It was just, I mean, and I'm not trying to drag this person, so we're not going to even say their name because I don't even know their name because I don't even remember it. But but I will say, girl, why do you care?
No.
What made you think that I'm going to make a video just to read these people? And you didn't think you'd be read back?
I'm glad that
I'm going to tell you a bedtime story. Lay down.
I'm so glad theater TikTok read
Like, just
that.
be proud of your accomplishments, be excited for them, and be happy.
Everyone's like, this industry is too damn hard, and I'm like, you know what?
It
Life
is.
is too damn fucking
Life
hard.
is too hard, and so why are we nitpicking every moment? You got a job in theater. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
It's hard.
And I'll drink to that.
And I'll drink to that. That was a great one.
Thank
great
you.
way to start off the season. I gotta think of one.
It can be from Wicked.
I'll drink to that. Congratulations to Donald Trump. Oh my God! Congratulations to Donald Trump.
I'll literally be drinking to that.
Here's what I'll say. We are about to enter a crazy time. And
Yeah.
this podcast, we hope, is going to act in two ways. One, as an escape for everyone just to have fun.
A safe space.
In a safe space. And also, and everyone's been saying this, like, this is just like what's going to make us happy. Because we're about to go through really, really, really bad times if we are not already.
Yeah.
And so this space is as much as we want everyone to enjoy listening to it. It's also, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I'm sure I speak for you. It's gonna be for us,
I don't believe that.
like after the election, I literally was like, when I worked for the campaign, I would watch the news. I would wake up and I would watch the news all day long because I was like, what's happening? What's happening? After the election, I was like, I need to protect myself and my heart from this. Turn off the news, and I was like, we gotta get the podcast back together.
Yeah.
And we have been grinding. I haven't even I've been keeping track of all the crazy shit that's happening. But that's all I have to say.
But keeping track of the things you can control and the things you can't. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, but there was a line at the end of Frozen that made me cry every single night, and it became a motto amongst the cast, which was fill the world with light and love. And in times when I was like, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I'm not doing this. It was like, but you know what I can do is fill the world with light and love.
Right.
And like put things out that bring joy. God, I'm such a fucking Glinda.
Well, the sad thing is, like,
I'm such a Glinda and you're such an alphabet. It's crazy.
me, like, literally getting me, like, listen, girl.
Yeah.
It's T. Because the communities that are going to be targeted by this next administration are us.
Yeah, girl.
And the people that are listening right now. So you have to protect yourself. You have to find joy every day because shit's going to come out. News is going to come out. Laws are going to be passed. Crazy thing. We're going to see terrible things, and we just have to know how to. And I think I posted this after the election, but like you have to protect yourself and you have to like clock out for
Yeah.
a couple seconds, let someone else do something.
Go
So,
on a walk and put us in
go
your
on a
ears.
walk, put us on your ears, put us in your ears. I mean, this every week is going to be like something that I look forward to.
Mhm.
Period. So not I'll drink to that. Congratulations, Donald Trump. I'll drink to that. To the resistance.
Yes.
We're all in this world. We all have to be alpha buzz for
Yeah.
real. Down.
You see me? I was like this. Yeah.
Well, you better figure it out because we are.
Yeah, girl. I'll jump.
No, don't.
I'll
like
get
this,
on that
wait,
broom.
wait, don't
I'm like,
jump.
you're right.
No, you're so hot. Don't.
No, you're so hot. Don't kill yourself. If you haven't seen that meme, I'm sorry. Yeah,
It's a
It's a
meme.
meme.
It's a
It's a
meme.
joke.
It's a joke.
I'm so happy we're back.
What do you guys think about this? This is Sammy's apartment. What do you
My
guys think?
apartment is really gay. We're back. We're so back, dude.
I can't believe that I can't believe our first I'll drink to that of this new era that we're in was you reading
I
that
think it was
man
kinda perfect.
and me saying congratulations Donald Trump.
Title about
Oh,
congratulations,
this is Donald Trump. That is funny.
I think you should stick around for everything we've got going on. We've got some really cool guests, like actually people that I
Really?
kind of am really excited and I can't believe are going to be coming on. And I just can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Just stay tuned.
And listen, share this with your friends.
Yeah. Subscribe.
Because
I'll give you a kiss.
I'll give you a kiss. We all
Okay.
know you want that.
Bye, divas.
Bye. I love you guys.